For USCFootball.com, I'm Keely Eure here with Dan Weber. Instant analysis of USC's 13th practice of spring, the last Tuesday practice of spring. It was definitely a hot one today. I think it hovered around 90 degrees, but it was nice for the players at least because they went no pads, so not too hot for them. Helton said that they did complete the last no padded practice, so it was required. It wasn't something that they got to choose to do. So a lighter day for USC, some situational work.
Right, because I don't think we were absolutely certain that it was by NCAA rule, but
Yeah.
so they had one more not in pads actually practice. So today was the day. They finished up early at 4:41, something like that. It was a lot of review, and then they put in some situational stuff that maybe will come in handy September 1st. I don't know, but it's one of those. I guess you just got to get through it because they're going in full pads Thursday, Saturday. So. You would have liked to have had them be able to go full pads today, but the rules are the rules.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're coming off one of the best practices of spring, and then do you think it was a little anticlimactic to then come out here on a Tuesday and have no pads and kind of go a little bit slower than we're used to seeing?
Without a doubt, yeah. I mean, there were plays at the end where Clay was, they were trying to set up situations at the end of games and things like that, and he's yelling to them, go slow to the defense so that they could complete the pass and stop the clock with the various ways of stopping the clock. And you don't often hear a coach yelling at him, go slow, go slow. So yeah, it was just one of those days you got to get through because Saturday was the best practice of the spring. I don't think there's any question.
Mm-hmm. But it wasn't an exciting after practice for us because we got to talk to the new freshman early enrollees. By far, I think they were definitely an impressive group. For being their first college interview, they handled it really well, and I think they're definitely an impressive group.
Yeah, we couldn't talk to all of them. I didn't get to, but I got a chance to talk to the three who have gotten some first team work, and center Justin Dedich and safety Talanoa Hufanga, and outside linebacker Kana'i Mauga.
Yeah.
And really impressive kids.
Yeah.
I mean, just one after another. Talented, mature, but yet it's obvious. These are kids that really are in their senior year, should be getting ready for the prom, and just terrific impression. Really like those kids.
Mm-hmm. The common thread, I think, between all three of those is that they've been getting significant playing time for early enrollees. How did they deal with it? What do they have to say about getting that significant playing time?
Well, it's interesting because you're asking each of them to do different things. Justin Dedich, if you're the center and all of a sudden you're getting first team reps, you got a lot of riding on you. And he said it's been really good for him because after every play he gets to consult with Brett Nealon and Toa Lobendon. He said that really has worked well, and he just he's a talented kid, and he's hit the ground running. He was a shotgun snapper in high school, so that's doing pretty well. His weight's holding at 292, which probably where they want him to be. So I think he's pretty pleased. Just the playbook is the playbook, and he thinks maybe he has 70% of it right now, but that's pretty good. So then Talanoa Hufanga asked him, I said, how many people, have you gotten the question much about what's a kid from Corvallis, Oregon doing coming to USC? And he said, no. He said, nobody's ever asked me. I said, okay, I'll ask you. What are you doing here? And he said, well, I idolized Troy Polamalu. And he was in Oregon, came from 10 Mile, Oregon. He lived with his, grew up maybe originally in Southern California, but moved in with family in a tiny town of 10 Mile, Oregon. And came to USC, and he said, I kind of, idolized Troy. He's kind of the same size, maybe a little taller, 215 pounds. He doesn't look it, but he plays like it. And just, very quiet, soft-spoken. I said, will you be in maybe the return game? You did that in high school. He said, I'll do whatever they want me to do. They just tell me what do you want me to do? I'll do it. And then Kana'i Mauga played at like 210, 215 last fall, where he was the player of the year in Hawaii. He's 230 now, and they'd like him to be 245. And he said the thing that surprises him is he hasn't lost any of his speed. I still think I asked him, you know, are you the fastest linebacker out there? I think he wins the sprints at the end, so he's the fastest linebacker. He wouldn't admit that he's the fastest linebacker, but he would admit that he's surprised that in putting on this weight, he hasn't lost any of his speed. Real, you know, soft-spoken kid. Credits Porter Gustin and Jordan Iosefa with, you know, sitting down with him, watching film, bringing him along, helping him, and yet when you ask him about running first team, he said, that was my goal. I kind of wanted to be able to do that. So terrifically impressive kid. So to start with, you know, there at USC, you know, you don't probably bring in 3 early entry freshmen who really, you know, step in and play first team. Yeah. I mean, you know, there are reasons why they're there, but you didn't notice any, you know, fall off with those guys out there. I mean, they can flat out play. Didn't get to talk to Chase Williams, and did a little bit, to Raymond Scott, and
Tremblay.
We didn't think about him as a first-year kid. Did you get to talk to him?
I think someone on our team interviewed him, so we have a lot of interviews with all these freshmen, so definitely make sure you check out the site for that because we have that. But
okay, great. Yeah, okay. But it was a good day.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was interesting, though. I got to talk to Jack Sears. He kind of takes it day by day. So when he had some of the badder practices of his spring, he was just like, I take it day by day. So now, coming off one of his best practices of spring, he was like, I take it day by day. You know, it wasn't, he's even keeled, but it was interesting because he was asked, is there anything left you feel like you need to prove before 3 months off, before fall camp? And he said, I think the coaches are smart enough that they're taking it as a whole. But then when Helton was asked, he said, yeah, I'm actually looking for a lot in this last couple of practices to see what the quarterbacks can show me in these last couple of days. So it's an interesting contrast between the two answers between those two.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, you don't want to make too much of any one practice, but I do think the last 2 practices are going to matter. Yeah. I mean, I think Saturday mattered. Today was a kind of a throwaway because of the no pads, but I think Thursday and Saturday will truly matter, and you'll get a sense of, you didn't get much of a sense today. I mean, you know, Matt Fink had 2 just as close to pick sixes as you could possibly throw, and I think Marvell one and Biggie the other. And Clay had a great quote. I said, you know, here you are, you know, you're kind of the offensive guy, former quarterback's coach. You're the head coach, but you're also the coach of the defensive guys. I said, what goes through your head when that happens, that you get this near miss off the fingertips for a pick 6 twice? And he said, well, as the offensive guy, you just want to puke in a bucket. As a defensive guy, you're feeling, hey, we're pretty good. And he did say that for the spring, the defensive backs as a group has certainly been the best position of the spring, and I don't think there's any question.
Yeah, for sure. I was going to ask you about that because he specifically highlighted Iman Marshall. He said he doesn't think he's seen him take a play off during spring. I don't think I have either. It's just impressive performance by Biggie this spring. And then Ajane Harris kind of leading that group as well. He said the DBs as a whole are really united, and he said that the defense definitely could carry the offense during sometimes in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, that has to be the game plan. He had the third guy in there, Marvell Tell, as the physical enforcer. And when you think of all the, you know, games those guys have played over the years and how athletic they are, they have a chance to have a really good defensive backfield. And we're not putting Jack Jones in there yet. We're not sure how that plays out. But there aren't many teams in the country that return more talent, more numbers, more play, more games started, all of that. And they play like it. They've made life really difficult for these quarterbacks. There's no question about that.
2 practices left. What are you looking for? What are your thoughts?
That's a good question. I think that's my next column, I think, trying to figure out what exactly do we want to see the next 2. I think Clay referenced it a little bit, that last Saturday was kind of the blueprint going forward for how this team has to be. And so a practice like today is like off the blueprint. It's not like the blueprint, but that's what you want to see is imprinted in their heads. This is the blueprint. This is how, we're going to get through this early in the year with the big 2, Stanford and Texas road games and quarterbacks that haven't proven themselves. This is how we're going to get through it, with physicality and no mistakes and the ability to run the ball and all those things, and have that just, that focus to be able to carry that through. I think they have a chance last year because of Sam and because of Rojo and because of Deontay. You had this sense, well, we can kind of do whatever we want on offense. They don't have any of that sense now. Yeah. They know what they have to do, and they got to do it well, and the offensive line has to be a big part of that, and the scheming has to be just right. And I don't know that they were as clear-eyed and clear-focused on how they had to do what they had to do last year. I think that's almost a benefit, I think, this year, is they don't have the ability to kind of think we can do anything we want. Yeah. Sam will do it, or Rojo will do it, or Deontay. Yeah. I don't think they're thinking that we have to do it this way. And the defense gives us a chance to. But I just think leaving here with the understanding, this is who we are, this is how we win football games, is, I think, the important thing to come away from the spring. And this is what we need to do to become that team. Yeah.
Seems like they're trying to figure that out. Helton said that he's watched the film a dozen times, so at least they think they have it as of now.
Well, that was a good point, that he really has watched that film, and a lot. And somebody put up a podcast, I think with T, where he didn't, and I think it had been recorded earlier, before Saturday, and it didn't sound like what they did Saturday or the game that T called Saturday. And I think Saturday is valuable because I think it made it clear this is who we have to be. And we can't just do a bunch of stuff. Yeah. We got to do what we can do. And so I think last Saturday was awfully important. I think this Saturday will be as well.
Yep. Okay, we'll see. That wraps it up for USC's Tuesday practice. For Dan Weber, I'm Keely Eure. For more, check out uscfootball.com.